Hello and welcome. My name is Robin Elander, Executive Director for Downtown Santa Barbara. We are so excited to have our next episode of the Downtown Business Spotlight, where we feature different business leaders downtown each week. My host today is the amazing arts editor, longtime arts editor, Charles Donelan from the Santa Barbara Independent. We have some great guests here. Our topic today is back to film, back to the theaters and film. So we're excited about that. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Charles. And if you have any questions, if you're logged into our Zoom call and you have some questions, just type them into the chat. So thank you. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead, Charles.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being with us for Downtown Business Spotlight. We have a program today that's dedicated to theaters and screens, and there's a lot to talk about. Santa Barbara International Film Festival is coming up. Santa Barbara Symphony is very active. Metropolitan theaters, we understand, will be reopening in Goedert tomorrow. And our guests are Shannon Kelley from the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, Kathryn Martin from the Santa Barbara Symphony, David Corwin, president of Metropolitan Theaters, and Benjamin Goedert from the Santa Barbara International Film Festival. So welcome everybody, and thank you all for being here. I think we've got some good news. I like to think at least we have some very good news from the film festival, but I think that everybody's probably going to be able to tell us about things reopening. So I thought we'd get started and just go around, and maybe we could have Kathryn get us going by saying a few words about where the symphony is at the moment, what they've been doing, and what they plan to do in the near future in terms of bringing classical music to Santa Barbara.
Thank you. Yeah, this, sometimes we have referred to the pandemic as a pause. Well, this is the most active pause that I've ever been in. We are just, and I'm sure my colleagues are experiencing this as well, but we've been just so busy and busy in lots of different ways. So for the symphony, we were one of the few orchestras in the country that figured out a way to bring the orchestra together to create new programs and deliver our entire scheduled 2021 season. So 7
Wow.
Subscriptions. Plus, I'm very proud to say that we always have had a very large music education program, and we pivoted all of that virtually without missing a beat, and did not have to cancel any of our programs. If we couldn't go into the schools, we're making a video program that can be distributed. So as we're thinking about reopening, and we're going to be talking about that today, we're really building upon what we've done and the lessons that we've learned, and the personality and the mission of this institution, and our commitment to deliver on our mission has really been revealed in many ways. And I think, as we're kicking off this conversation, I just think about how, what things have really looked impossible. And there were all of the reasons from the government, from our colleagues, from all sorts of institutions of why things can't work. And so for us at the Symphony to be able to have accomplished what we are accomplishing, and we'll talk more about that, is really extraordinary. And that gives us the data, the confidence, and the commitment to now plan for next year. Of course, still doing the multiple scenarios, the if-then statements that we're all so tired of doing. Normally at this time of year for the Symphony, we have already announced next year's season and are selling tickets and renewing. We're not doing that yet. We can't. There's still too many variables. However, what we do know is confidently that we will be having a season. Will it be what we're calling a hybrid? Will it be a combination of virtual and socially distanced audiences in the Granada? Will it be outdoor free concerts? Will it be back completely at full capacity? We've all learned that a lot can happen in a month, a lot can happen in a day sometimes, and riding those roller coasters of new information coming. And we've learned that if we communicate clearly and transparently and honestly with our community. Here's what we know, here's what we don't know. Everyone has been so patient. We all feel like pioneers a little bit. So we are looking forward to knowing more.
As we all are. Thank you so much, and congratulations. I really appreciate the thoughtful and educational and informative programming that the Symphony does, and the way you've been able to continue to do that has really been heroic. So
Thank you.
great job.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Maybe David Corwin, tell us what's happening in the theatrical exhibition of movies. This has been quite a year for you folks.
No, hi, Charles. Robin, thank you for bringing everybody together here. It's been a long year for sure, and to each of us in a different, unique way, I don't doubt. But to go over a year being, closed for the most part, I think we opened up in October and we're closed in the middle of November with minimal revenue has been quite remarkable. We've done everything we can, to Kathryn's point, to just be as open and proactive as possible with our partners, and speaking to the landlords and lenders, which have been most important throughout this last year, to be able to keep things going and enable us to be in position to to reopen tomorrow. There's been a lot that's that we've had to do along the way, done everything possible to take care of our employees to the best of our abilities, and also just we've done a lot of things to be able to prepare to get open. Tomorrow we certainly thought and hoped it would be a lot earlier, but nonetheless, we're excited to be getting open. We've been open out of state, a few theaters in Colorado and Utah and Idaho for since late December. So I think our expectations are realistic about what to expect upon opening. Those theaters are down 80% versus the same first quarter last year. So by no means is opening the doors going to put us back to where we were before this happened. It's a process. And I think what's most significant is, theaters in LA and New York getting open, because that's really what has impacted the overall, film release schedule. And, with those theaters open, our hope was and still is that the summer product for the most part will hold. As even the last couple of days, there have been changes to that. So that we can't control. We just got to do the best we can to provide a safe environment for the employees and our customers, and, give them the experience of having a distraction from everything we've all been dealing with for the last year.
I know so many people who are excited about getting back into your beautiful facilities. The Arlington is just such an important part of our community, all your theaters, but in particular, when I think of the Arlington, I think of the film festival, and I think of the sense of community that building brings us all. Let's hear from the film festival folks. You guys are doing it. You're going ahead. There's going to be a film festival this year, and it's actually pretty much everything that a film festival usually is, that the film festival usually is. How is that even possible? Tell us a little bit about that.
So excited about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
Putting that thing on.
Yeah,
Because I know it's been, there's been a lot of changes along the way. Is that right?
certainly. The festival's coming up very quickly. Our opening night, in fact, is next Wednesday, the 31st. So a bit different this year, but I guess to start at the very beginning, when this time last year, we were able to pivot pretty quickly and find a number of ways to engage our audience virtually. We thought it was going to be a really short run, just those 2 weeks. So we started daily film recommendations, and still going strong. We actually just, I think it's our 375th or so that we've completed. So still find ways to get in front of people. Our virtual membership, our Cinema Society, we were able to increase the amount of screens that we have done. So the programming, in light of all the challenges, continues to expand. But the upcoming festival, we're especially excited about offering a hybrid and a in-person component. So we will be building out 2 drive-in theaters down at the Santa Barbara City College lots at Loma Alta and Shoreline down by the beach side. So all of the feature programming will be there. We'll have 80 films available for the 10 days of the festival. And we're really proud that these are going to be offered for free on a first come, first served basis, open to the community to come out and enjoy the presentations.
That is truly incredible. For free, 80 films in a drive-in capacity. That is so exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very excited about the way it's come together. We thought it was important to have some type of in-person component, obviously as safe as possible. And this plan that we landed on, we're really happy with. So lots going on down there. That will be complemented, of course, by a online portion where attendees who are maybe out of town or aren't able to make it to the drive-in, they'll have the opportunity to attend the same film screenings, as well as all of the celebrity tribute events, the industry panel conversations, all of the filmmaker Q&As that will be available online for people to enjoy from the comfort of their home. So we're happy to have something to offer, and really excited for the community to come out and enjoy it. It's the film festival is nothing without the Santa Barbara community that makes it. So I hope everyone's able to come out and participate.
Well, thank you, Ben. Hey, Shannon, let's hear a little bit from you, because I know you've been involved with the film festival. How long now have you been working for the SBIFF?
Well, the past year I think counts as like a decade. So
Yes, I agree.
No, like a year and a half or so, almost two, maybe somewhere around there. Yeah, I had a huge, came on staff and had the 35th, which was incredible. And then right after that was lockdown. So here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the film festival, it feels like you guys are as plugged into things like the Oscars as always. There's it's almost uncanny.
Yeah. Well, and as Ben kind of mentioned, we've taken a bunch of our programs online and developed some new ones, but the Cinema Society in particular, all the studios are still looking for ways to get in front of people. So we have wound up with way more events than usual even. So yeah, it's pretty.
Silver linings are
I know.
present right here.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of the Oscar talent, will be participating during the festival as usual. So yeah.
And I think there's potential for more people maybe than ever to see these wonderful tributes that are so interesting and so beautifully done. They're really, the quality of the production on those tributes is off the charts. And I think maybe this year is the year that people all over the country, all over the world, get a chance to experience what we would ordinarily experience by going to the Arlington. I talked to Carey Mulligan on Zoom earlier today. She was wonderful, lovely, and it's an amazing performance, crazy film. And I spoke to Vanessa Kirby last week about her role, and there's just, I think there's been a lot of really brilliant work done in cinema this year. A lot of innovation, a lot of interesting things happening with women, both in front of the camera and behind the camera. And it's great to see the festival celebrating that so effectively. Let's take another look with you, Kathryn, at some of the ideas that Maestro Cabaretti came up with to bring dynamic content to the online portion of your season. It was all online this year, but you found ways to create it that made it into something besides an online broadcast of just a musical performance. There's a lot more than that. Could you maybe describe a little bit some of the programming that was done?
Absolutely. So you're right. Nir Cabaretti, our music and artistic director, he, I think from day one, had a clear vision that for us, presenting archival recordings was just not what he felt we would wanted to offer the community. And there were a number of reasons for that. It wasn't going to deliver the impact that we wanted. I have to say too, if you're a symphony orchestra or a performing arts organization or a film festival, and what you do, live performances is no longer allowed. You physically cannot do it. it actually opened, and we were talking about silver linings. It created this question, well, who are we? Are we nothing until we can do that again? Well, no, because we're a nonprofit and we have a duty and a mandate to serve our community. It's our promise. So we had to figure out, how do we do that differently? And so, you know, we brainstormed. He had a vision about how to deliver something extraordinary to people in their home living rooms, how to connect the community with the music and the musicians. And a big part of our process and a big part of our success is that we brainstormed with others and we collaborated with others by saying to the orchestra committee, you know, what do you think might be possible in the musicians union, and my colleagues around the country that are we're trying to find their path forward. You know, a synergy between the film festival and the symphony is that many of our orchestral musicians play in the recording studios in Hollywood and have appeared in the soundtracks of many of the movies that the film festival presents. And we learned a lot from the recording industry because we weren't allowed to present live performances, but the safety protocols for COVID and that industry of recordings, it was what we went to the county health department and said, we can do this safely. This is what they're doing in the recording industry. And luckily we had a partner in the Granada who, instead of saying the easy answer, which would be, no, we're closed, really looked at those protocols with us and looked at air movement and HVAC systems. And we did smoke tests and we, you know, Charles, we did those crazy configurations on the stage.
Yes.
But not one, I mean, that just all of figuring the path forward, it would have been a lot easier to just call it a day and say we can't, but we figured it out. And I said, you know, by the end of this season, we're all going to be so expert on all these things that we've had to learn, but it'll take us all the way to the season. So Near wanted to make sure that we weren't just trying to replicate. We weren't trying to pretend like it's like it would be in the concert hall. And so that impacted repertoire. He did, instead of full symphonies, maybe movements, and he would make connections between classical, symphonic, and maybe jazz, and really started to, again, bring out the personality of our musicians and why Near and the musicians love symphonic music so much. And then we went beyond the music. So if our goal is to connect and bring hope and joy to our community, and we were all about creating an experience, well, then that opened up possibilities for behind the scenes interview with our musicians. We had longtime subscribers saying, this is because of the camera work, this is the first time, what an amazing experience to see Near, our conductor's face, because normally you just see the back of his head, or, you know, the flute player. So we were creating that connection. And then also, you know, we wanted to partner with local business. As my colleagues all know, you know, we are economic drivers in our city, the arts are. And so not only when performances are canceled, then all of the restaurants and the bars and other places that our customers and patrons frequent are really negatively impacted. So we partner with Duo Catering, we partner with the Good Lion, and we look for ways to bring visibility to what those folks are doing. We also, this year, we're feeling very inspired by the medical community. So we dedicated and honored one of the performances to the medical community and created this and revealed the connection between music and medicine. So we've just been really playing and maybe experimenting with getting out of what I'll just call the traditional symphony format and opening it up. And it's been exciting because we have actually, and I didn't predict this, we've generated new interest, so new subscribers, new donors,
oh, that's wonderful,
new ticket holders. People say, I'm not normally symphony people, but I'm hooked now. This is wonderful. So
that's great.
Our audiences have had to learn how to stream. You know, I had a question in October about how do I know if my TV is smart? You know, and to now they're all like, they know how to do it. So
yes,
it's been such a learning experience for all of us. But Near, to answer your question, Near just, I don't know how he knew, but he knew what was going to feel right for our community. And we charged for it, which no other orchestra that I know of was doing that. And now, people can subscribe backwards. So if anybody has missed a performance, there's tickets are still available and they can watch it on demand. So it's very
It's
That's great.
really smart and special. That's incredible.
And I've got to say, just personally, it's been a powerful emotional experience to see the way the symphony has come together to protect the livelihood of those musicians and to continue to be well connected to the audience, to the people who are longtime supporters of your organization. It really means so much.
Thank you so much for saying that, because it was rather frightening to make the commitment to employ our full orchestra of 60 musicians at a time when we didn't know how, when we lost $800,000 in ticket income. So thank you.
Incredible. David Corwin, I think it was around the turn of the year that Warner Brothers announced that they would be releasing films directly to HBO Plus. Am I remembering this correctly? Something like that.
It was before. I mean, it was before they opened Wonder Woman, which is in December.
Right.
So
okay, in December,
right.
yeah. And then I think Christopher Nolan maybe made a public statement. There were a couple of interesting open letters that were published. Maybe some of the people from some of the talent agencies. How are you feeling right now about the question of whether or not the theatrical window will remain in place going forward? Is that something that is a real concern for exhibitors, that this exclusivity is changing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think we're confident that the exclusivity will remain once we kind of get through this. I mean, there undoubtedly have been some pandemic deals that would not have occurred otherwise,
Right.
as everybody tried to figure out the best way to get their content to be seen. And a lot of these streaming services didn't exist before the pandemic. I mean, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Peacock, I mean, they all and more were all sort of rolled out, and I don't doubt accelerated during the pandemic. So it also gave those companies an opportunity to experiment with different things and kind of see what would work. Not necessarily in a real environment as to what things will be like going forward, because there weren't a lot of theaters open during the time, but they made different decisions. I mean, clearly the majority of films were pushed out into this year, and then even some beyond that. I mean, probably 80% plus, and a smaller number. They either took directly to streaming or did something simultaneously. I mean, Warner Brothers yesterday, though, as you probably know, made an announcement they have an agreement with Regal to have a 45-day window. So they made clear that their day and date strategy with HBO Max was for 2021 only, as no one knew what to expect. And similarly, Universal's made deals with some of the bigger circuits for windows of anywhere from 17 to 31 days. And I think everyone's figuring it out. I mean, it's very fluid. They have their own companies to do what's best for. I do think that they probably, in retrospect, could have communicated things better. I mean, to your point, Warner's got a lot of pushback because they kind of went out there without getting any input or even notifying some of their key creative partners in advance. And look, nothing's going to replicate the theater experience. I mean, 50-inch screen versus 50 feet. I mean, obviously, I think there's clearly some pent up demand. I mean, we've all been watching anything and everything over the last year and are probably tired of doing so in your same place in your house, and want to get out. And I think good things will come of it as far as the experience. I mean, we've had to upgrade a lot of technology and add amenities, partially due for, to accommodate certain, COVID protocol, whether that's, we have a new website, we've introduced an app. I mean, so there's, contactless ticketing, and, there'll be more of those kinds of things to come that I think ultimately will improve the experience and differentiate the experience you can have in a theater than you can have at your home or watch it on your phone.
Well, that's great. Maybe you could say a little bit more about that. I think we're probably all aware that there are, protocols associated with the pandemic and with safety, but you're talking also about doing some new things just to make the theater experience richer, more layered kind of thing. Are there some specific details that you could share with us? Like,
Sure. Well, there's a lot involved there. I mean, first and foremost, from a safety perspective, because people should really feel comfortable coming out to the theater. I mean, it's been kind of surprising throughout this year to see what kind of the understanding of the people making these decisions as to what could be open and what couldn't, how they would think certain things were safer than, going to the movies where you're sitting in a big room,
Right.
not near anybody and not communicating with them. As opposed to sitting across the table from somebody, at a restaurant. But, regardless, I mean, the industry for the most part has embraced Cinema Safe, which was standards set by, some epidemiologists who came together to work with the industry to create sort of standards that everybody would use. And that'll evolve over time as regulations change and there's fewer cases and more vaccines and so forth. But, that involves everyone wearing a mask except for when they're eating or drinking. We can now enforce social distancing in the auditorium, which is not all that complicated. I mean, every other row will be empty. There'll be 3 empty seats between groups. And that's all in the software. And when people go online and reserve tickets, it won't enable you to purchase a ticket that's close to anybody. Certainly we've all upgraded our, air filtration systems and have more cleaning protocol and are, as far as employees' health checks before they start their shifts, and more cleaning throughout the theater. So I think there are a lot of good things in that regard. And then as far as amenities, I mean, things I mentioned, it's real simple now on our app to purchase a ticket remotely and just have that scanned, by a ticket taker on your way in and no transaction, at the box office. And that'll expand to including concession transactions where we already have that in some theaters out of state where you can order in advance when you're purchasing your ticket and either have it ready, pick up at the stand or delivered to your seat. And to accommodate all the social distancing and things I talked about, I mean, we have the reserved seating in all the theaters now. So all those things I think add to the experience. And one of the things that's been really popular, not all that surprising, but is as we've seen out of state and we did locally when we first did it, and we're going to try to continue to do it. We're a little challenged with the number of screens we have, but that is private rentals where people can reserve an auditorium for up to 20 people to see whatever they want and know that it's only their group in that auditorium. So those, we try and make those available as far in advance as possible. They could be booked online on our website. And then we tried to accommodate people that want some different, time or day or something where possible. So I think those things are really good. And we certainly have a lot in the queue as far as upgrading amenities, whether it's seating or, additional food and beverage options. That'll be able to come into play here pretty soon. So I think there clearly some good things have come of this. We just got to get through this and get to where some product and can accommodate more than 25% of the people.
Well, and get a few more people vaccinated and get to a place where you can operate at a little higher capacity. That'll be nice too.
Oh, for sure.
I love the idea of those private screenings, and from what I can tell, you've made them. They're pretty reasonable. They're within reach in terms of the cost.
Yeah, no, that's important too.
Great.
Really sounds like you've created a situation where the experience will be really exceptional for someone who wants to come. I mean, you can actually reserve your seat so you can decide in advance, how close you want to be to the screen, and then the food situation, like that is really quite a service that you've been able to come up with through this process. So that's special. I just commend you for that structure.
No, thank you. We think so. I mean, there's an advantage more than ever now. People knowing just everyone has a different comfort level, right? I mean, I get if you're first making a decision that you're comfortable going to the theater, that's great. But then at least on those first couple of visits, not knowing what to expect, if you can see that seating chart and know, where other people are going to be situated in advance, it kind of takes away that, part of the unknown about just arriving and not knowing what to expect, as well as just being a nice, amenity and taking out, some of the interaction with people that some people may not be ready for.
Can I ask Ben and Shannon to tell us a little bit more about the technology that will be used to screen drive-in movies during the day. I didn't know that was possible, but I understand what's going on. It's an LED, the screen?
Yeah, it's LED, and the company that we're using, they're out of LA, and they do huge events. This is their bread and butter. So the quality is absolutely going to be there. And yeah, you can come do the breakfast club thing or come for the evening screenings. But yeah, it'll be, I think one of the things that we've all learned this year is that throw whatever the obstacles are, there's some solution out there.
I went down to the Ventura Fairground and saw Carmen by Opera Santa Barbara in my car. And they used, I think, a similar, I don't know whether it was of quite this quality, this level, but they broadcast or, they streamed the performance to a large screen, and it was outdoors during the day, and it was great. The quality was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But that's fascinating because, I mean, the drive-ins, it's always been, you got to wait for the sun to go down.
Yeah.
But we're not doing that this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're all movie geeks, and nobody would want like it to not look good. So yeah,
And that's a partnership with Santa Barbara City College that's making this happen. Is that right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. They've been very generous allowing us to use part of the space, and I think they're excited also to have some people down there. And the partnership it's natural, and I can't think of anything more quintessential than films in California on the beach. I feel like that's about as Santa Barbara as it gets.
Yeah.
So I think they were excited to partner.
When the Music Academy of the West used the football stadium for a symphony orchestra concert, and that was pretty thrilling. Incredible sort of juxtaposition of a full symphony orchestra and the ocean.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful place. Yeah.
Fantastic. Tell me the question of keeping everybody employed. Everybody's had to deal with that one way or another. I think I'm going to go back to Ben and Shannon, because in some ways it feels like the film festival has been more active in the off season. There is really no off season for film festival anymore, but there's been such a lot of programming, more screenings and Q&As, and also this I mean that recommended films thing is pretty much daily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually, every morning we have a staff meeting. That's one of the more fun parts, is talking about the daily film recommendation. And in a way, it's become a journal of sorts, a reflection of the year. The films often reflect, what's going on in the world, and there has been a lot going on in the world. But that, we have a small staff. We, in a way, pride ourselves on, this scrappy team that we are. So we've been able to retain the core 8, and it's things like that, and growing our education programs virtually have been able to keep everyone especially busy. Claire Waterhouse, who manages our education programs, alongside each of the film recommendations that Roger is writing up, Shannon is editing, and Claire is coming up with study guides of production notes and behind the scenes film details to complement that. So that program alone, I think, has kept everyone on their toes.
Yeah. I love those recommended films. I don't watch every movie, but I read every recommended film, because for me it's like a version. When I was young, growing up and learning about film, there were certain books that you would keep going back to. Andrew Sarris had this book, American Cinema, and of course all those collections of Pauline Kael's and things. But I think this series really stands right up there with these classics. And it's been fun to watch it, as you said, Ben, kind of unfold in real time and be responsive to what's happening in the world. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's been a great project to work on. And making the selections that feel really relevant in that moment. It's such a time capsule,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe you could tell us just a little bit more about a couple of things, maybe one or two each, Shannon and Ben, that you're personally looking forward to, either films or I'm always especially interested in not only the tributes, but those panels. And I think this is going to be a really interesting year because, I mean, we're going to hear from all the best directors, just incredibly eminent people, and they're going to have some stories to tell because nobody who lived through this year doesn't have a story or five. So Ben, what are you looking for? What are your picks?
Well, I have to say, one part that I enjoy about the film festival is the mystery. I enjoy trusting our programming team. Mickey and Audrey do a great job putting the slate together, and knowing that some of these films that you're going to see, you may not have the opportunity to see again. And these are some obscure masterpiece from a distant country that here and now I'm able to enjoy. But I think you hit the nail on the head as far as the panels. Those are always so insightful. The Artisans event in particular, I really appreciate. This is the Variety Artisans event honoring below the line talent, people that aren't necessarily recognized out and about, but they are some of the most talented people working in film today. It's the editors and the costume design and the composers. This year, we have Trent Reznor on the panel for his composition. So excited about that one. And it shines light on, the people behind the scenes that really make the movies as magical.
Yeah, Trent Reznor and Oscar winner, I believe, in the past for the, his scores is pretty impressive.
Yeah, so that's on Monday, April 5th. So worth checking out. Monday, April 5th, that one.
Okay, that's a good one. Shannon, what about you?
I mean, same with the panels. The panels, Roger does such a good job pulling that talent together, and the conversations are always so interesting. As far as the tributes go, definitely looking forward to Sacha Baron Cohen. He's been with us a couple of times this year, and he is such an interesting guy. Like, he's just, you could listen to that guy talk all day long. Just really intelligent and fun. So yeah, looking forward to that one.
Well, I remember vividly the Q&A with Leonard Maltin after the screening of the original Borat film at the Lobero. I think I was in like the second or third row, and Sacha Baron Cohen maintained the Borat character for the entire Q&A.
Wow.
And he was really, really rude to Leonard Maltin. And I do not think Leonard Maltin appreciated that at all.
Uh-oh.
It was really, was rugged, but it was funny.
Leonard's doing Bill Murray this morning, so hopefully it'll be a little friendlier.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be the one. David Corwin, have you seen the Borat subsequent movie film? Did you enjoy that one?
I have not. We're divided in our house on that. My 20-year-old daughter is encouraging me to watch it. My wife has no interest, so I'll find a time.
I have watched it and I did enjoy it, but it's actually probably a little easier if you take it like 10 or 15 minutes at a time, and then end up, take a little walk around the house.
I don't like to hear that though, Charles. We want people out and watching everything in its entirety, as it's meant to be seen.
But I think Sacha, he's getting a lot more love for Trial of Chicago 7, which is a serious role. So
I thought Chicago 7 was terrific.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts, and Abby Hoffman went to the same public high school that I went to, and that accent was perfect. He did Worcester, not Boston. There's a difference, and he clearly respected that. Kathryn, do you want to tell us about the next Symphony event that's coming up? Is there something that we should be looking forward to?
Yes, and again, this is the next live broadcast to look forward to. And of course, there's a whole season of the past. But so April 17th and 18th is called Fanfare for the Common Man. That's taken from Aaron Copland's piece. And the bookend to that will be Fanfare for the Uncommon Woman by Joan Tower, a living composer.
Terrific, yes.
And really that's all about Americana roots, from gospel to traditional songs. Again, this whole season is about spotlighting our incredible musicians and their talents. We're doing an Ives piece that will be featuring musicians in different parts of the hall. It's on purpose, so it's perfect social distancing in the Granada. And again, this thread of inspiration that common, ordinary folks can provide and do provide so much inspiration for us all, and to reveal who those are. There might be some special people coming from our community that we'll be highlighting, and behind the scenes interviews, backstage, and of course there will be our signature symphony cocktail and 3-course dinner package that you can order locally. And so just having a lot of fun. And people tune in, and there's a live chat, so we're interacting. It's the first time where the conductor can be also chatting at the same time.
Right.
Musicians, audiences ask questions. It's just a lot of fun. And
what is the date?
Performance coming up too.
What is the date for that? Is that next Saturday?
April 17th and 18th.
April 17th.
Yeah.
Excellent. David Corwin, we can go to the theater in Goedert tomorrow and see a movie. Is that right?
Tomorrow, yes. So like I said, we'll go, and then the Fiesta 5 opens on Wednesday, when Godzilla versus Kong opens. So it's nice there is some new product. So while I can't tell you it's going to be of the quality that the films highlighted in the festival will be, it's nice to have some tentpole movies on the schedule. So that's sort of the first of them. And then, Memorial Day weekend is Quiet Place 2 and Cruella. And then, Fast and Furious and Top Gun, and, to follow soon thereafter. So hopefully that all holds, and we can kind of get back to business as we know it.
Yeah, those sound like winners. Those sound like good, big summer movies, and the kind of movie that you need to see in a theater. So that's great. Robin, other things that we need to address?
Yeah, actually, I had one quick question for our panelists, and then I'll go into kind of what's happening next week. But I was curious with these panel discussions, particularly for the Film Fest coming up, what's the format that people can expect? Is it a Zoom webinar style kind of situation like this, or what is kind of the way that people get to interact?
That's a good question.
So the panels themselves will be very similar to this. It will be a moderated conversation where the questions will be directed, and essentially just roundtable discussion about the work's year. The tribute events will be one-on-one with the moderator, except for the Virtuosos event, which will be, because it has a number of attendees, honorees, it will be a similar format to the panels.
Gotcha. Well, very exciting. I can't wait to see all of these, and congratulations to all of you on just making this stuff happen in the middle of the pandemic and making it happen with such joy and excitement for our community to be able to participate in. So we invite the community to check out the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, the Santa Barbara Symphony's offerings, as well as get back into our amazing local theaters coming up this week. So next week, I want to talk about what we have in store for our next program. It's also with Charles and I are going to be on there, and we're going to be talking about art galleries, fine art for all. And our guest on the show is our new gallery, Thomas Reynolds Gallery, who just started recently, and then Sullivan Goss, a downtown staple, as well as 10 West. So we have the owners of each of those. Lots of stuff in store. We have a show here every Thursday at 3 o'clock. We also have all the different offerings that our downtown businesses and community organizations have going on, highlights on our website. Throughout every day, something is coming on new, so downtownsb.org. And then today, and every Thursday from 3 to 7:30, we have the State Street Promenade Market, where you can shop with local artisans, downtown businesses, and really enjoy some outdoor shopping in a safe environment. So thank you all so much for a great, inspiring conversation. Thank you, Charles.
Yeah,
Anything
thank
else
you,
that you
Robin.
want to share coming up with the Independent next week?
Thank you to these panelists. Your professionalism, your passion, your commitment to what you're doing, it's just so inspiring. We wouldn't have paper without you folks and what you do. So thank you so much. We got a great issue out on the street today and on the web always. I had a really fun conversation on Zoom with Michael J. Fox last week. He's living in Montecito, and he's got a brilliant new book out, and he's just really such a sweet, great person. So please check that out. And then next week, we are going to have interviews with Carrie Mulligan, Vanessa Kirby, and all kinds of other features on the Santa Barbara International Film Festival. So that's next Thursday. So it's film time in Santa Barbara, and always great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you. Lots of great stuff happening here. Lots of new businesses opening downtown as well to check out. So not a dull moment here in downtown Santa Barbara. So we will see you all next time. And thank you, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Bye. Thank you, Rob.
Bye.
Charles.
Bye.
Everyone.
Thank you.